This is the Troll Patrol. Live. With Justin. FREAKIN.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol. Live. It's a freaking Thursday. Warlord, I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about. Did the FCC issue some new regulation? There has not been a broadcast entity that has solely broadcast in analog for 10 years at least, if not longer. But 10 years for sure. I have to brush up on that. Like, all stations are broadcasting a digital signal as well. I haven't kept up with anything like that. I'm in the streaming world now. Who gives a shit about terrestrial broadcast? They wanted to pay me $10 an hour. At the time, I had 15 years experience in the business. You can see, like, clearly, I do 3D graphics and shit. They wanted to pay me $10 an hour. I asked, in order to stay at the station I was at, I asked for a $3.50 an hour raise to what the living wage is in my state. And they wouldn't give it to me. And I was like, all right, this is my notice. Oh, wow. I did not, and you would know, you would think as a broadcasting geek that I am, that would have registered with me. That is a milestone. Moment of silence indeed. Hold on. I'll give you that moment of silence. That's enough for that. You're listening to the podcast. I did the Catholic, I don't even know what the fuck that shit's called. The Hail Mary or whatever. Call it watch. I'm not Catholic. I don't fucking know. I'm not any. I'm an atheist. Oh, let's go old school to start off the show tonight. Originally the show, in case you were unaware, the name of the show is the Troll Patrol. It started out as a Facebook show where I would troll people live on air. That was the premise of the show. The problem was I kept getting banned on Facebook. So I just started doing the news to fill time when until I wasn't banned on Facebook, and then I was just banned all the time, so it became a news show. Well, let's go see some of my trolling here, because this is just I facepalmed so hard last night. I'm banned on my actual account anyway. I have to go to my sock account that I run I have another account just so if I lose my account, I won't lose my page where the show broadcasts and shit. But sometimes I go over there and do a little trolling because I like to troll. So this was on the story about Megyn Kelly saying that the media misrepresented January 6th to make it look much worse than it actually was. Now, I broadcast 8 hours of that shit. We watched the whole goddamn thing. I know exactly how bad it was. Come down here and anyone with a brain can see how stupid Trump supporters are. And boy, did that trigger people. We'll talk 40 something comments. The big Facebook news that surprises nobody paying attention. I'm not sure what you're talking about exactly. Please, what is the big Facebook news? Let me in on this. This woman's and you think Biden is smart, and you think his supporters are smart. Well, smarter than Trump supporters, that's for fucking sure. That's a proven fact. How can I sleep at night? And then this dude, I love this dude saying another Democrat slinging insults. How original. Another Democrat flinging insults. How original. I wish right-wingers had a shred of self-awareness. So now I pointed out, we're operating under the Trump budget until the end of September. The fiscal year starts in October. Like, I don't know what policies that Biden has had an effect on the economy. I pointed out the trade war with China, tariffs on lumber in Canada. This woman comes back with, there was no insurrection. You can keep saying it all you want, but it doesn't make it so. No, ma'am. You can keep saying there was no insurrection. That doesn't make it so. I've got the evidence. I watched it with my own eyes. I'm not listening to goddamn Ben Shapiro and Megyn Kelly telling me what to think. I saws it. There was an insurrection. We have it on video. Trump supporters attacked the Capitol and tried to stop a constitutionally mandated process. And here is my 8 hours of coverage where I saw it. I am sick and tired of traitors painting themselves as patriots. It burns me up. Right-wingers are literally the dumbest fucks walking the planet. Now, I did censor myself there, because if I say that they're the dumbest fucks walking the planet, Facebook is probably going to filter my comment out. It probably does anyway. Apparently, I'm the one drinking the Kool-Aid here. So, the right commits the vast majority of violence. That's absolutely true. I love how, Eli here says, great points, but you might as well be talking to a brick wall or a dead computer screen. And she didn't make any points. She just said, nuh-uh. So, if you are so smart and knowledgeable about crime and its trend, tell me your definition of the right. Since you're a professional YouTuber, I guess you would know how to define them to me. I said, you mean right-wingers. By that I mean the right side of the political spectrum. Conservatives, Trumpers, libertarians, sovereign citizens. Morons. This dude said, so where in Trump's speech did he tell people to storm the Dome of Dummies? The Dome of Dummies? Or to protest violently? I quoted the end of Trump's speech. So we're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue. I love Pennsylvania Avenue. And we're going to the Capitol. And we're going to try and give. The Democrats are hopeless. They never vote for anything, not even one vote. But we're going to try to give our Republicans, the weak ones, because the strong ones don't need any of our help. We're going to try and give them the kind of pride and boldness that they need to take back our country. So let's walk down Pennsylvania Avenue. He's literally telling them to go to the Capitol and take back the country before a crowd went to stop a constitutionally mandated process. That is an insurrection. And, spending months spreading lies about how the election was stolen despite the fact that it wasn't. He's literally responsible for all the idiots that went to D.C. that day. The Electoral College certification process is usually a very boring affair. This is the first time that shit's happened, at least in modern history. We have video of. God damn. And then I pointed out that top generals feared Trump would attempt a coup. James Mattis denounces President Trump, describes him as a threat to the Constitution. And then do you know what the response is? It's to tell me that I hate America. This woman says, I basically just described most of the people in the country when I said conservatives, Trumpers, libertarians, sovereign citizens. Ma'am, that is not most people in the country. Fortunately, some of the loudest So yeah, they accuse me of hating America, but they're the ones who elected a guy who said that whose own defense secretary said that he was a threat to the Constitution. You throwing that article up in the Discord? Let's check it out. I want to know what Facebook is up to. Sneaky bastards. I fuck with them though. I am happy that Facebook thinks I'm a conservative because I spend all my time on Ben Shapiro, The Blaze, The Daily Wire, fucking the Young Americans for Liberty, all the hardest fucking right shit. That's where I spend my time, arguing with the dumbest fucks walking the planet. Why? I don't know. Used to be local news sites, but local news sites don't give me the thrill that I need. It's not enough stupid. I have to go to where the actual stupid is. And Parler, oh my god. And you should the comments I get on my videos on BitChute. I can't read them. Here on my show, I can't read the comments I get on BitChute. You would not believe it. Right-wing spaces are not fun places to be. But speaking of Trump and the coup, if Trump was going to do a coup, apparently he wouldn't do it with Mark Milley. Trump says General Milley is the last person he'd want to start a coup with. I'd like to remind everybody, this reminds me of the O.J. Simpson If I Did It thing from a few years ago, where he wrote the book. Well, if I did it, here's how I would have done it. I would like to remind everybody that tomorrow night I will be joined by Sparkles Lavender, who is going to go into great detail about how O.J. really didn't do it. And that book really is him just saying, oh, well, if I did do it. Because she believes Caitlyn Jenner actually did murder Ron and Nicole. And she will walk you through the whole fucking thing. Outline it all for you tomorrow. Apparently people are very interested in this. But Trump says General Milley is the last person he'd want to start a coup with. Former President Trump, in a statement Thursday, denied that he ever threatened or spoke about taking part in a government coup after his election loss, adding that Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Mark Milley, would be one of the last people he'd ask to take part in a coup if he were to do such a thing. Well, you would need the generals from the military. Apparently, Trump doesn't know how a coup would work. He said, I've never threatened or spoke about to anyone a coup of our government. Well, that is kind of a true statement. Trump never expressly says anything. He always says it with this air of plausible deniability where everyone knows what the fuck he means. But it's like a meandering kind of way he says it. It allows him to be like, I never said that. He talks out of both sides of his ass all the time. So ridiculous. Sorry to inform you, but an election in my form of coup. Oh, an election is my form of coup. And if I was going to do a coup, one of the last people I would want to do it with is General Mark Milley. I guess he is upset as well about Milley laying the smackdown about critical race theory against Matt Gaetz. We're going to talk about Matt Gaetz here in a second. Trump was responding to reports based on excerpts from the book I Alone Can Fix It by Washington Post reporter Carol Linning and Philip Rucker. Apparently, it's set for release on Tuesday. In the book, it is reported that Milley and others were concerned Trump will try to stage a coup to stay in power. We know about the reports that he wanted to pull all the military personnel home. A move I agree with, but I am pretty sure that he wanted to pull all the military personnel back into the U.S. because he wanted to use them against the United States citizenry. The entire time that all that information was coming out about what he was wanting to pulling out of Afghanistan and shit, why did Trump want to do it? It's not for the right reasons, that's for sure. I think he wanted the military personnel here to try to stage a coup. The book claims Milley even discussed the possibility of a coup with his deputies. They may try, but they're not going to fucking succeed. Milley told his deputies while discussing the possibility of a coup, according to the book. You can't do this without the military. You can't do this without the CIA and the FBI. We're the guys with the guns. I said that all along as all this was going on. One of the reasons why, like, in the grand scheme of things, maybe I'm glad Biden won, because had that been Bernie, the oligarchs might have been like, hey, we need to stop him from taking power at all costs. And could have been pulling the strings of like, hey, military, do go with Trump. At least Biden was it was a breath of fresh air compared to Trump. That's the only good thing about Biden. We're gonna get into that here in a second. Trump and Milley have repeatedly battled since Trump lost his re-election bid, and the former president was scathing in his statement. He got the job only because the world's most overrated general, James Mattis, who Trump appointed to be the Secretary of Defense, all the best people, could not stand him, had no respect for him, and would not recommend him, Trump said. To me, the fact that Mattis didn't like him, just like Obama didn't like him, and actually fired Milley was a good thing, not a bad thing. I often act counter to people's advice who I don't respect. Yes, we like everything about the right-wing mindset is acting contrary to people you don't respect, and you don't respect anyone that has intelligence, anyone that's educated, anyone that's talking down to you. And we know you actually act contrary to what we say, so much so that you guys live in an alternate reality now. In fact, Trump nominated Milley to serve as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, a position the Senate confirmed to him in 2019. Trump, in his latest statement, said he lost respect for Milley after the general criticized his threats to use the military against people protesting the George Floyd murder in the summer of 2020. He lost respect for him because he wouldn't violate the Constitution on behalf of Trump's wants and wills and feeling. Yes, fuck both Ben Shapiro and Megyn Kelly. Not literally. I would not. There's a lot of people that I'll look over their politics to be in a threesome with. I would not look over the politics of Ben Shapiro and Megyn Kelly. I think they would both be horrible in bed. Representative Liz Cheney. This might be from the same book that's getting ready to come out. Cheney reportedly told Jim Jordan, who I will never not take the opportunity to point out, covered up sexual abuse at Ohio State University. Representative Liz Cheney told Jim Jordan that he was responsible for the Capitol riot while the scene was evolving on January 6th, according to a new book. It is indeed the I Alone Can Fix It book. That fucking guy, Jim Jordan, that son of a bitch, while these maniacs are going through the place, I'm standing in the aisle and he said, we need to get the ladies away from the aisle. Let me help you. I smacked his hand away and told him, get away from me. You fucking did this, Cheney reportedly told the general. Jordan has been a longtime supporter and champion of former President Trump, whose supporters laid siege to the Capitol as Congress was certifying President Biden's election win. I just cover the news. I cover what the news is. We're getting ready to talk about Biden here in just a second. We're going to talk about Biden more than we're going to talk about Trump. We're actually going to watch Biden speak. But we're going to get a few stories out of the way. Let's talk about the Arizona audit. Apparently, the head of the Senate, Senator Fan, says the audit ballot totals don't match Maricopa County's numbers. This is what we expected to happen here. The Arizona Senate President, Karen Fan, said Tuesday the number of 2020 general election ballots tallied during the ongoing audit she authorized the Cyber Ninjas bullshit audit doesn't match the total documented by Maricopa County, but the Republican didn't know how far off the counts were. They haven't released the number yet, if you will. However, we do know that those numbers do not match with Maricopa County at this point. Apparently, she told this to the Mike Broomhead show. Asked about the size of the discrepancy, a fan said, "I do not know. They have not told me the number." Fan said the approximately 2.1 million ballots are being recounted by independent machines before the Senate returns them to the custody of Maricopa County. It's weasel language. You're exactly right. That is a very good descriptor of it. I'm getting ready to catch you up, Media Winch. Let's find out what's going on with Facebook here, though, that we referenced earlier. Facebook knifes its own analytics tool to hide its Ben Shapiro problem. Oh, shit! Facebook reportedly reassigned dozens of employees at its data tool, CrowdTangle, after it showed right-wing content thrives on the newsfeed. It does! And so here's the problem, is that right-wingers have all this fucking money that they're getting funneled into them so they can boost their posts, and they buy all kinds of ads, and that's how they dominate. It's artificial. Facebook gutted its data analytics tool, CrowdTangle, by reassigning dozens of its staff and sidelining its CEO after its data showed that incendiary screeds and misleading content from right-wing pages regularly outperformed traditional news outlets on the news feeds, according to the New York Times. CrowdTangle, a Facebook subsidiary, is one of the only ways to see into Facebook's black box of metrics from outside the company. It offers data on how content performs on public pages and groups in terms of engagement, or how often a post is commented on, shared, liked, or receives a reaction emoji. I know this to be fact because, like, my own friends and followers aren't really watching this show. I can't get my Facebook fucking followers over here. The people that I have won over with my comedy over the years. Some have. CrowdTangle's engagement data has shown for quite some time that links from ultra-right commenters like Logic Troll Ben Shapiro, former NRA TV goon Dan Bongino, and bloviating Fox News host, this is a Gizmodo article, by the way, and bloviating Fox News host Sean Hannity, as well as far-right sites like Breitbart and Newsmax, regularly score in the top 10 each day. That reinforces the indisputably correct but politically inconvenient notion that Facebook has fostered the kind of toxic right-wing echo chamber that fueled things like a vigilante shooting at a protest in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Let's not forget that Liz Cheney sucks ass. Like I am rooting her on in this fight right now. But like, if she tries to switch and become a Democrat, which I don't think she would, I don't think that's advantageous to her. Liz Cheney may be better off going to, she would be good for the spot on The View where Meghan McCain is leaving. Liz Cheney. She meets all the qualifications. She's the daughter of a politician. She's got the name recognition. Liz Cheney's perfect for that spot. That's my call. If ABC is smart, Liz Cheney is the conservative spot on The View. I think she'd be better than Meghan McCain. Megyn Kelly would be good for that spot. All right, I want to know, who is your guys' favorite Republican senator to make fun of? Is it Lindsey Graham? Is it Senator Kennedy? Senator Kennedy is my personal favorite to make fun of. Lindsey Graham is almost impotent now. Lindsey Graham is one of my favorite to make fun of. Exactly how to choose. Well, this is my favorite to make fun of. Senator Kennedy is disgusted by Biden's inaction on Cuba. Let's hear what he has to say. Old Lady Kennedy.
What's happening in Cuba is it's a contradiction for me. It's both beautiful.
Everybody hates Ted Cruz. That is one of the things that I love about him. Like, Ted Cruz is a lot of fun to take shots at, but like I just like this old lady right here.
But it also disgusts me to my core. It's
Disgust.
What we're seeing is people's innate thirst for freedom. I mean, our desire for freedom is deeply seated. It's almost part of the human condition. And the Cuban people want...
He's leaving something out. They are thirsting for freedom from U.S. intervention.
Their freedom. When Castro took over...
I don't know that this picture is from Cuba. This seems like a picture that might have been in Miami.
Promised them freedom. Instead, he gave them socialism, which we now know, of course, is just trickle-down poverty. So that part is beautiful. And I think we ought to do everything we can to support the people, the good people of Cuba. What I find disgusting is the fact that all President Biden has done is issue a press release. That's it. I don't even know if he read the thing. President Biden needs to be on the television.
Okay, yeah. Cuban protesters in Tampa. I knew it. These are right-wing protesters in Tampa. This is U.S. right-wingers.
The leaders of the UK, of Canada, of New Zealand, of Australia, of India, of Japan, of South Korea, of the European Union, and saying let's issue...
And ask yourself the question, why aren't they showing pictures of the signs and shit people are holding in Cuba? I wonder if maybe it's not a message that goes with the narrative that Fox is wanting to paint.
Issue a joint statement supporting the people of Cuba. Let's talk about additional sanctions on the Castro government. We've got the Castro government down now. The people have. Let's choke them to death. President Biden ought to be using all of the cyber...
That is what he is advocating for. He is advocating for economic terrorism against an island for no fucking reason.
United States of America to keep that internet...
It is disgusting.
So the whole world can watch and the Cuban people can talk to each other and try to reinforce their actions. Instead, Rubio said it best. I'm going to paraphrase. He said, I wish President Biden would spend 1/10 of the time helping the people of Cuba that he's spending spreading fairy tales to the American people.
I thought just a few weeks or months ago they were talking about how we spend too much on foreign aid. We're sending all this money that's wasteful to other countries. Now it's like, I wish President Biden would help Cuba. Oh my Lord, I got the vapors because Biden isn't helping Cuba.
Says that the Texas voting rights statute is the worst thing that happened to America since the Civil War, in which 700,000 Americans were killed. It's a fairy tale. Either that, he's the only person in the Milky Way who believes that. Either that or he...
I agree with Senator John Kennedy. What you are saying is a fairy tale, and you are the fairy goddamn godmother.
Since the Civil War, in which 700,000 Americans were killed. It's a fairy tale. Either that, he's the only person in the Milky Way who believes that. Either that or he was playing frisbee.
Right-wingers are morons.
101.
I'm sorry, we missed the witticism he had there. Something about playing frisbee. Does Biden's gaffe of the day top all the dumb shit the Republicans are going to say on this show?
It is my great honor to introduce President Joe Biden.
Thank you.
If it's even a gaffe.
Thank you. Well, for you, anybody under the age of 13 This has got to be boring, boring, boring for you. Right? Well, I tell you what, we ought to work something out here so that when this is over, your parents, your uncles, your aunts, whoever you're with, they owe you some ice cream or something for this, you know?
Oh, damn. See, it's that viral moment. I figured it was a gaffe. I hadn't watched it. That was cool, bud. I will tell you, it is boring. As a kid, I went and watched Bill Clinton speak. It was boring as fuck leading up to that. It took forever for that motherfucker to come out. And it was like right in the middle of the Monica Lewinsky shit. And my teacher's like, he's probably back there adjusting his tie. Ha 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 ha. From Biden's speech today on, this was where like Angela Merkel was here for a state visit. Biden was asked about infrastructure during their press conference.
I'm supremely confident that everything's going to work out perfectly in terms. Look, I understand why the press, and among others, is skeptical that I can actually get this deal done on infrastructure and on.
Well, it's because the Republicans are assholes. And they're never going to agree to anything you ask for.
Human infrastructure. And I've watched.
And Adam is all out of chuds. Well, we got a chud on screen right now.
I don't think it's dead. I think it's still alive. I still have confidence we're going to be able to get.
Oh, Biden says it's still alive. Pulled out the Pearl Jam for you. I hate Pearl Jam.
What I proposed and what I've agreed to in the bipartisan agreement on infrastructure. We've each committed, I trust the members of the Republican senators who have made the commitments relative to how we should proceed and what would be.
I don't trust Republican senators.
For infrastructure. And they're men and women of honor, and I expect they're.
No, they're not. That's you fucking Biden. No, the Republicans you made the deal with are not men and women of honor. They're Republicans.
The further issue of what's going on and what will confuse the listening audience, but reconciliation, that is the mechanism by which you have to get every single Democrat to agree to proceed on matters like what I announced today.
This was right after his meeting with Angela Merkel, so he might have very well got the shit kicked out of him. Maybe he's into that. You got the German chancellor in the fucking White House. Maybe she was like fucking breaking out the whips and the chains and stuff. Like, you know how freaky those Germans are. And, like, it might sound a little weird, but, like, I would join that orgy with, like, Angela Merkel and Jill Biden and shit. Like, Joe's not appealing, but, like, the rest of it's kind of cool. And, like, Joe's the president. That's cool. That's what I'm saying. Maybe he wasn't into it. He got a dildo up the ass from the Chancellor of Germany. Yes, the Germans are really into that. And now he's just emasculated in front of the world. I mean, like, the power's kind of sexy.
Today, I don't know whether you have any children. It's none of my business whether you do, but if you do, you're going to get, if you're making less.
And most of the women in granny porn absolutely look exactly like Angela Merkel. If you don't believe me, if you've never actually ventured into those parts of the porn sites, type in your Pornhub or your X videos, type in young and old lesbian. You will see a woman that looks exactly like Angela Merkel with some like hot fucking 22, 23-year-old or like a 30-something-year-old that's posing as a 22-year-old. I make no guarantees about who I will and will not fuck. They don't call me the freak daddy for nothing.
A significant stipend that is a tax cut. If you have a child under the age of 7 years old, you're going to get in your bank account today.
Today, yes.
Get a payment.
I'm sorry, Adam. I'm sorry.
12 months divided, $3,600, $3,700 for that child.
Fuck, he's doing some Steiner math here. You got a 66 2/3 chance.
Divided by 12 every month, just like a Social Security check. It's expected to reduce child poverty by over 40%. And it could be a significant game changer. We have mechanisms to pay for both these mechanisms. And there may be some last minute discussion as to what mechanism is used to pay for each of these items, both the...
I'm glad this was only 2.5 minutes. He is painful to listen to. He is so uninteresting and uncharismatic. I wish that if he was going to be president, it would have been fucking 5 years ago. God damn. He really was a hell of a lot better 5 years ago than what he is now. We're going to talk about the child tax credit here in just a little bit. I didn't know he was going to bring it up. That would have been a good segue, but I got like a whole segment that goes with that. Biden was having a hard time doing some math there. Somebody that can do math is Senator Elizabeth Warren. She got to question the Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell, at a hearing earlier today. Let's hear what she's got to say.
Two basic jobs: monetary policy, which everybody likes to talk about, and regulatory oversight, which is often way down in the weeds but keeps our economy safe from another banking meltdown. You've been chair for 4 years now and have gone through the process.
And she brings up a good point. I don't know that we aren't on our way to another economic meltdown, and that the neo-libs, that's exactly what they wanted. They saw the writing on the wall, and they did everything that they could to prevent our coalition, the millennials. Today is when I just realized, somebody did an article, I think it might have been NPR, that John Ossoff is the only millennial in the Senate. He is the very first millennial elected to the Senate. They have been trying to keep us out. They saw the writing on the wall with Bernie. They did everything they could to stop him. And now they have Biden comforting old Joe Biden, friendly old Joe, and now they're going to fucking rob us blind. There's going to be a gigantic crash while Biden is in office. I don't think he is equipped to handle what's coming. Neo-libs are going to fuck us over. I hope I'm wrong.
What you describe as, quote, tailoring the regulations put in place after the 2008 financial crisis. Now, there were a lot of changes, but I want to talk about a couple in particular. To prevent taxpayer bailouts, banks are required to have living wills. This means that banks must be able to show every single year how they could be shut down without
action
the entire economy. In 2019, you changed the rules so that the 13 banks with $250 billion to $700 billion in assets could submit full living wills only once.
And don't get me started about Elizabeth Warren. I'm fucking shit. Why didn't Elizabeth Warren see the writing on the wall and throw her weight behind Bernie? She was selfish in the last election, but beyond that, like I want Elizabeth Warren questioning the Fed chair.
Years instead of every year. So that test is now weaker. Chair Powell, has the Fed done anything over the past 4 years to make living will requirements stronger?
Make living will requirement. We've done a lot of things to strengthen regulation and capital, but I think
on living wills.
I can explain what we.
So let's move to another regulation, the Volcker rule, the rule that works sort of like Glass-Steagall light to separate commercial banking from Wall Street risk-taking. In 2019, you exempted more short-term trading holdings from the rules, so banks could take on a little more risk. Now, that weakened the rule. Then in 2020, you eased up the rules to let banks invest more of their assets in high-risk private equity and hedge funds. So the Volcker rule got weaker again. So let me ask, Mr. Chairman, during the past 4 years, has the Fed done anything to make the Volcker rule stronger and limit risky trading for the largest banks?
I think by clarifying it, we made it more effective at what it's supposed to do, which is just what you said.
Well, I have to say, it's whether or not you did anything to make it stronger, not just whether or not you made it clearer. It's whether or not you made it stronger or harder for banks to engage in speculative trading.
They did not.
I'm taking it that the answer here is no. I've highlighted...
Seems like they made it way easier and let them have a lot of exemptions.
But there are a whole lot more. Reducing capital requirements, easing liquidity requirements, shrinking margin requirements, scaling back on supervision, weakening the stress test. It's a long list, and I realize that you think these are good changes, but I'm trying to look at this from a regulatory perspective. Is the chairman of the Federal Reserve making banking rules stronger or weaker?
Weaker.
So tell me, Mr. Chairman.
They are good changes
Rule change,
if your goal is what I was just talking about.
Name a change that strengthened the rules and made the actual rules tougher.
Well, let me say we did not weaken capital requirements for the largest banks, and I actively resisted any move in that direction. And in fact, the stress capital buffer, which we implemented quite recently after years of consideration, raises capital standards for the largest banks. By the way, stress tests, they're really bound by the stress tests. We maintained the very high stringency of the stress tests through this period.
So, but what I was asking about anything tougher, look, what I'm looking for is that the Fed's record over the past 4 years, I see one move after another to weaken regulation over Wall Street.
To lead us back to the position exactly where we were in
There's no doubt that the banks
the late aughts
today than they were when they crashed the economy in 2008, but that's the wrong standard.
I just said that.
The question is whether or not they are strong enough to withstand the next crisis, and whether the Fed is tough enough to protect the American economy and the American taxpayer.
That's not their job. That is not what the Federal Reserve's job is. They are a private bank. Their job is not to look out for us, for the citizenry of the U.S.
The beneficiary of these weakened rules made it through the crisis. But the researchers from the Minneapolis Fed found that the banks would have faced up to $300 billion in losses if not for fiscal stimulus from the government. In other words, the current Fed rules were not strong enough for the banks to withstand the pandemic.
Everything. Let me break it down for you in the simplest terms possible. Everything about our government at this point in time right now is a way for private entities to funnel taxpayer money into their coffers. The banks are purposely wrecking the economy so they can get bailed out by the government and suck from taxpayer teats. Simple. That's every fucking thing.
Without, once again, calling on American taxpayers to back them up. And that's the heart of my concern. I understand that the next crisis may feel far away, but it may come at us fast and from an unexpected direction. It is the job of...
I think she knows something.
Specifically, the job of the chair of the Federal Reserve to use the regulatory tools that Congress has created in order...
But once again, like, can we really trust her foresight if she didn't see what was coming in the primary? Or maybe she did see what was coming and she's in on it and she is a neo-lib. And she was against Bernie. That's the only explanation, because she's not a dumb woman. Now, in the last couple of hours, the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus was arrested at the Capitol complex. Representative Joyce Betty was at a voting rights protest at a Senate office building when Capitol Police arrested her. Wow, that's
Why would an oil and gas company
sponsor a news agency like Politico? I don't know. Maybe it's to get favorable coverage. Yes, you're right. Warren used to be a right-winger. When she was a college professor, she was a very much a hard-right Reaganomics kind of Republican. That is absolutely true. I don't know if we're actually going to see her get arrested here. This is footage from today in their march.
Black women! Freedom! Black women! Freedom! Black women!
Now they're inside the Capitol. More consequences for a woman who works in the goddamn building than anyone other than Ashley Babbitt that was there on January the 6th. Chanting "End the filibuster and let the people vote," the group marched into the Hart Senate office building. And what Betty said was an effort to send senators a message. The group of around 20 people spent about 20 minutes in the building before Capitol Police delivered several warnings and restrained the protesters with zip ties. The police detained Betty first and then led her and other protesters outside to waiting Capitol Police vans. The remaining protesters walked out of the Hart building without being arrested. Capitol Police said the group was arrested for violating a D.C. law that prohibits crowding, obstructing, or accommodating. I saw several hundred people that were violating that rule, or that law, on January the 6th that didn't get arrested. I don't think any senator would want to be in a position to answer that question for you. It is a fantastic question and it illuminates exactly where the priorities are with our politicians in this country. Buildings that make up the Capitol complex are still closed to most visitors, but members and staff can escort guests inside. The group had initially rallied near the Capitol at a church building as part of what participants billed as a day of action on voting rights, with black women leaders, allies, and advocates urging the Senate to pass two key pieces of legislation: a sprawling Democratic election reform bill and the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. It does seem like the Capitol Police are kind of incompetent. Yes, Reagan's own vice president called his economic positions voodoo economics. And I'm not going to say this very often about a member of the Bush family, but Bush was right when he said that. All right, before we get to this next story, I want to ask the question: how is Matt Gaetz still a member of Congress? Matt Gaetz is under investigation for sex trafficking a minor. Somehow, some way, he's still a congressman. And people are still asking him questions as if he's relevant. Here he is. I don't even know what this fucking shit is. He's with a bunch of reporters outside somewhere.
Well, we have had some connections to folks close to Brittany, and look, we stand with Brittany no matter what she decides. If she doesn't want to come to Congress, that is obviously her choice. But it seems she...
Now, Matt Gaetz invited her to come and testify in front of Congress a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Complete publicity stunt on Gaetz's part. Like, this is what we get from these Trumpian Republicans. Publicity stunts. PR. That's all this motherfucker is.
a story to tell. It seems that she wants accountability for the people who have mistreated her, and she wants accountability for a system that has allowed her to...
Yes, free Britney. I'm on Britney's side. Apparently she has been allowed to hire her own lawyer now.
Absolutely. Look, there is no stage in the world too big for Britney Spears, and I think the United States Congress would be a great place for her to come and demand accountability and to inform the country about how
Gates is the pinnacle of a Florida man.
They are to people's personal choices and the decisions they're able to make to rehabilitate themselves. I mean, all of Britney's enemies want to say she's crazy. I should
have put up the content warning just because that fucker's face. Damn.
With people in Congress that are way crazier than Britney Spears, and they're able to wear a congressional pin.
Yes, you are way crazier than Britney Spears. Marjorie Taylor Greene, your friend, is way crazier than Britney Spears. I agree with you, Matt Gaetz. The unmitigated gall this motherfucker has.
You know, crazy. I serve with people in Congress that are way crazier than Britney Spears, and they're able to wear a congressional pin. You know, how come Nancy Pelosi is not advancing these issues? How come Maxine Waters is not advancing these issues? You know, I think we ought to come together. I think people from different political affiliations ought to find unity of purpose in this cause.
Not unity of purpose in a bipartisan commission to investigate the attack on our Capitol. No, this motherfucker wants to grandstand and hot dog about fucking Britney fucking Spears. Because that's all fucking right-wingers have. That's all they have is this culture war bullshit. And Senator Lindsey Graham, who hasn't been relevant in quite some time, decided he wanted to weigh in on some culture war bullshit because that's all right-wingers have. Senator Graham says he'd go to war for Chick-fil-A after North Dakota students voiced concern about restaurants. Oh, I'm sorry, Notre Dame students, not North Dakota. It just said ND in the headline. I didn't know. Senator Lindsey Graham said he would go to war for the Chick-fil-A. While I do declare I love having that cock in my mouth so much that I would go to war, I would die. I would die for that chicken. Senator Lindsey Graham said he would go to war for Chick-fil-A after some students at Notre Dame voiced their opinion about wanting to keep the fast food chain off their campus. Several students from the Catholic-founded university stated in a letter to the NDSMC Observer editor, a student-run newspaper, that they have some serious ethical concerns regarding the restaurant, asking school officials to keep Chick-fil-A away. Lindsey Graham, that's the free fucking market, sir. That is students who pay to go to the college there and are treated like customers, demanding a certain level of response from their college campus that they pay for. You, Lindsey Graham, sticking your dumb ass into the conversation is government interference in the free market. Right-wingers are just complete and total idiots. The student's letter responded to the university's campus dining posting on social media on May the 12th about them considering the fast food chain as an on-campus option for dining. The South Carolina senator responded on Wednesday in a tweet saying that he wants everyone in South Carolina and across America to know I have Chick-fil-A's back. I hope we don't have to, but I will go to war for the principles Chick-fil-A stands for. The bigotry and hatred that Chick-fil-A's, I will go to war for their right to donate to anti-LGBT organizations. Because I love cock that much. And I am that repressed. Lindsey Graham. Digging his multiple chins where it doesn't belong. That's exactly right. Now, while Matt Gaetz grandstands about fucking Britney Spears, Lindsey Graham talking about fucking chicken, Democrats are actually getting things done today. A policy, because this is one of those things, like, I'm sorry, I was wrong. I sat out 2016. I didn't vote for Hillary. I was wrong. I was wrong. The Republicans have proven to me now, without any question, shadow of a doubt in my mind, that they are just calling them morons is being charitable to them, because the alternative is that they're evil fuckers and they know exactly what they're doing. Republicans cannot be trusted. The two Democratic presidential administrations in my lifetime both oversaw record GDP growth. And they cut the deficit with one balancing the budget. Every single Republican in my lifetime has wrecked the economy and oversaw a record deficit. Every single one. Every single one. Are the Democrats perfect? No. And to any right-winger that comes in here and tries to criticize Democrats, most of your criticisms are coming from the left. Republicans don't have any fucking solution to anything that matters. The child tax credit is a tangible piece of legislation that would not have happened without the Democrats in power. So I'm going to do everything I can for at least the next few elections to make sure that the Democrats win. It is that important. While at the same time working within the Democratic Party to try to take it over with progressives and leftists. Child tax credit payments will start hitting bank accounts today. Here's what you need to know. The payments, which were included in the American Rescue Plan, changed an existing tax credit by expanding the eligibility pool. Now, I'm still going to say fucking Democrats are not perfect. They're still not doing what they need to do on fucking Medicare for all. It looks like we might get the Medicare eligibility age lowered by 5 years. It would be awesome if they just go ahead and lower it to 50 at least. There's plenty more slack to take up with the Democrats, but, fighting them in a way that allows the Republicans to take power is just goddamn stupid. I encourage bashing Democrats, criticizing Democrats, hold them accountable, take them to task. I'm all for it. But we must do everything we can to make sure that Republicans never, ever, ever get power again. We need to get them out of these state houses where they dominate. 2020 or 2022 is coming up quick. Yes, Media Winch. I'm incredibly worried about the results of 2022 and what the future will look like. Like, it's clear. Like the best illustration I can give of this is that Republicans are fucking doing everything they can to try to prevent people from voting. So that tells you right there, voting matters. Voting matters a lot. The problem is you can't just let it in there. You can't just be on it on election day. You've got to be active within the party and help move the party to the left. You have to be with the people doing the groundwork to make sure that your voice is heard. Unfortunately, we live, and I think it's by design that we live in this capitalist society where money equals speech, your time equals speech. Poor people don't have any of either of those things. Poor people are just trying to survive. They don't have the time to go put in the political effort that fucking rich people get to go and fucking hobnob and do these badass fundraisers with surf and turf and shit. Jack each other off. And that's how they get their politics done. We used to do it in the union halls, and that's been busted. And also, like, even as an atheist, I hate to admit it, like, we used to do it in the churches as well. The churches can be a force for good, they just, usually aren't. I am so happy that the youth are more politically active. I think the kids are all right, but I don't know if they have enough time. Once again, let's go back to the thing that just blew my mind that I learned today, that John Ossoff is the very first millennial in Congress, or in the Senate. If Trump is involved in 2022, I think the outcome is going to be far more favorable for Democrats. First of all, I think the Democrats pick up seats in the Senate. That's the one. It is the most favorable year that the Democrats have had. Just looking at the Senate map, and the seats they're defending, and the candidates are like, I think Fetterman is going to be a pickup in Pennsylvania. Exactly. And we've been locked out. We don't have the wealth. We don't have the political power. And it all goes hand in hand. Keeping us from having the wealth has helped keep us from the political power. And the political power has helped keep us from having the wealth. And they know this. But anyway, that's my spill on, like, at least the Democrats are marginally better. And I will do everything I can to make sure that the Democrats keep getting elected, because it would be against my best interest to not. It would be against the best interest of anybody watching this, I would assume. We're all in the same income tax bracket. Or comparable brackets, at least. But the expanded payments are expected to significantly decrease the number of children living in poverty. The White House estimates that child poverty could be reduced by as much as 50%, which is fantastic. But the logical conclusion that you draw from that is, if that would cut child poverty in half, a robust UBI would eliminate child poverty. Mind blown. And I'm gonna break. I think I do a good job of breaking it down for you stupid fuck right wingers. It's like playing Monopoly without getting your Monopoly money, without getting your 200 when you pass go. Not only do people start off life without their two $500 bills, their two $100 bills, all their 20s and shit. There are people that start off playing the game like in debt already. Libertarian philosophy does not work. All your fucking market bullshit doesn't work unless everybody gets their Monopoly money to be able to play. And you do that by providing a strong social safety net. Because it's fucking Nozick's own critique of his fucking philosophy. Nozick is the modern father of libertarian thought. His critique of libertarianism was the problem of initial just acquisition. A contract is only valid if all the way down the line it's always been valid. So if there wasn't initial just acquisition, if somebody stole it to begin with, then no contract can be valid. No libertarian fucking knows this shit for some reason. So in order to start from a place where you can have your libertarian utopia that you want, you have to make sure everybody has a minimum guarantee. Nice. It's all about the game and how you play it. It's all about control and if you can take it. Kentucky. Amazing. And this is another illustration of how much better Democrats are. Kentucky reports a record budget surplus under Democrat Andy Beshear. Thanks to larger than expected receipts from income, sales, and business taxes, Kentucky officials Friday reported a record surplus for the 2021 fiscal year. Now remember, right-wingers love to talk about how everybody's fleeing the high-tax Democrat states. That's not true, first of all. And I can show you story after story where the Democrat states are run better than the Republican states. The state I'm sitting in ranks last or next to last for fucking everything. And all payments to the state's general fund totaled $12.8 billion for the 2021 fiscal year, which ended on June 30th. The 10.9% increase from the 2020 fiscal year was the biggest jump the state has seen in 26 years. I believe there was a Democrat in office when that happened as well. Now, I know that Democrat personally, Governor Paul Patton. We'll leave it at that. His lush of a wife loved me. She's always like drunkenly like slobbering all over me. I think she wanted to fuck me. In California, they're trying to make it seem like California is falling apart. And they've got this recall going on for Governor Gavin Newsom. I don't think that's going to go anywhere. Californians are set to receive another relief check after Newsom signs the state budget. Well, I mean, we at Walker, in Wisconsin, Brownback, in Kansas, we have so many examples where Republican governors have just failed and turned states into laughingstocks. Yeah, I broke out lush. But we have so many examples of it. But that's one of the reasons why they have to have Fox News on there all the time going, people are fleeing California. Homeless people are shitting in the streets. People are fleeing California. You have to repeat the lie. You have to repeat the lie over and over and over again. So that people here in Alabama who are getting fucked over, we rank fucking like 47th in education, 48th in education. We hemorrhage money. We're funded almost completely by the federal fucking government. You have to go on Fox, and you have to have that propaganda to combat reality. You have to have Ben Shapiro and Dan Bongino all over fucking Facebook. Because if people just if they're just scrolling and they don't pay enough attention to what's going on, they're just seeing it and they're like, well, it must be true. During an event in El Sereno Tuesday, Governor Gavin Newsom touted the state's newly signed $100 billion California comeback plan, hailing the budget package as one of the most ambitious in the nation. The plan includes sending $600 stimulus checks to nearly 2 out of 3 Californians. That's the whole speech. We're not going to watch the whole thing. The state has a historic surplus of about $80 billion. That $80 billion it's not something to sneeze at. Directing his comments towards renters, Newsom insisted, we have your back, citing funds to pay 100% of back rent from April 2020 through September 2021. That's fucking cool. Newsom added that, also, I don't have a story on it, but I heard it on, I might have been the Majority Report. If you received unemployment at any time in the last year and a half during the COVID pandemic, you are eligible for the Medicaid expansion or some plan on the exchange. Go sign up for that. Even you just drew it for a couple of weeks, you are eligible. You don't have health insurance. It's not perfect, but it's something. And there are probably people out there that will be helpful for. It would have been helpful to get rid of Nancy Pelosi last year. Yes, Adam, if you could take advantage of it, do it. I highly recommend it. I drew unemployment for a few weeks when the pandemic first started. So, like, I'm going to look and see what all it entails. And if I can get some dental work done, I kind of doubt it's going to cover dental work or anything. But if I can get some dental work done, I'm going to. So I highly encourage anyone that may help. Look into that. Google, like, free health insurance for unemployed. And it should take you to the info. I'm positive that you're going to have to jump through some hoops, and it's going to be a website that doesn't function well because the government does this shit on purpose. But stay on it. The program is there. All right, so this is an interesting piece. I've wanted to talk about this for the last couple of nights, but then we had the caller the one night, and too much to talk about last night. This is interesting. Nancy Pelosi had a serious challenger in the congressional race last year. Shahid Buttar, and I liked the guy. But apparently some allegations came out about him and his campaign. I'm not sure exactly what the allegations were, but apparently they were false. So Gloria Berry here has written on her Substack about the incident. I want to delve into it just a little bit because I want to get the info on this. Concern about people of color is a concept that I hear all the time lately in San Francisco, and especially in the Democratic Party and clubs I attend across the city. But is concern about people of color just an empty buzzword, a flashy Twitter trend? Personally, I'm not a fan of the words themselves. These hollow words reflect a reality that how racism plays out still doesn't seem to be understood by the community, and especially some members of the local clubs. Read fucking MLK's letter from a Birmingham jail. Talking about, concern about people of color. These hollow words reflect a reality that how racism plays out still doesn't seem to be understood by the community and especially by some members of the local clubs. I believe there are well-meaning people in these clubs who want to dismantle racist systems and have stood along with me to do that. But sometimes they have some blind spots in examining their roles and perpetuating them. When I was a young girl, my dad worked on the famous cable cars. He found glue in the keyhole of a car. I always hate these, personal narratives. I want to get down to the meat of the business here. For me, some of the most traumatizing personal examples of racism have been false accusations. I've overcome some myself. The story I'm about to tell is one of how I witnessed a network of political critics mislead voters and smear a brown immigrant man for their own gain. To this day, there has been no accountability for the racism inflicted in this situation and the trauma it has inflicted on so many people. And remember that this would be in service of getting Nancy Pelosi reelected. I tell the story because I believe deep down that the members of these clubs want to do the right thing. I have a grandson who will grow up to be an Afro-Latino man, and I hope that coming forward will help reduce the chances of him facing the same trauma one day. Neither these clubs nor the Democratic Party have a right to say they care about racism when this is how they did Shahid and lied to his voters. Here's the story of false accusations that I witnessed in 2020, tried to inform at the time, and was bullied and threatened for challenging before, now facing smears myself. I met with Emily Jones through the San Francisco Bernie Crats and socialized frequently with her over the past 2 years. She called the evening of July 17th. Her first words were that she had been crying all night. She said that Shahid Buttar, for whom she had previously worked as a finance director for a few months, had done something terrible. Shahid is a Muslim immigrant, lawyer, and artist who ran for Congress to replace Nancy Pelosi. In March, he became the first Democrat since 1987 to face Nancy Pelosi in a general election by winning the top 2 primary alongside the Speaker of the House. On July 14th, the San Francisco Chronicle ran a front-page story above the fold with the headline, Pelosi ignoring calls for a debate. Copy of the headline Emily's call came 3 days later. Emily said that we can't support Shaheed anymore. She went on to specify that Shaheed had sexually assaulted a woman on the East Coast named Elizabeth Croydon 20 years ago. Emily specified that during a party at his home in Washington, Buttar had gone up to this woman in his kitchen and poked her from behind with his erect penis. She also said that at some other point, Shaheed told the woman that she won't have sex with him because he is brown. I asked Emily how she knew about the story. She said that Raya Steyer, another former member of Shaheed's staff, had talked to Shaheed's accuser, Elizabeth Croydon. I followed up asking, how does that prove anything? Emily went on to say that she believes Shaheed did this because he previously asked her 5 times during an event to get the phone number of a blonde who wanted to volunteer on his campaign. She claimed that when she was unsuccessful at getting this number, Shaheed said she would not give it to him because he was brown. That explanation did not convince me. The more she talked, the more fishy it sounded. Every time I asked for proof, she responded with new bizarre accusations that didn't prove anything. Later discovered that the campaign already had this volunteer's number, and that the volunteer had asked Shaheed at the event described by Emily to connect her to another volunteer so they could work together on hanging banners promoting the campaign. Emily's story about Shaheed pressuring her to get the blonde's number conflicted with both Shaheed's explanation and the volunteer whose story Emily contorted, yet was repeated by his critics to corroborate the dubious story from the woman in D.C. Eventually, that volunteer came forward with text messages revealing that, like me, she had also been contacted by Emily, who urged her to join a group effort to speak out against Shaheed. Like me, the volunteer shared outrage in her responses to Emily. Like me, she went to the press to expose the lies after they were published. Like me, she was ignored. I really hate that. I donated to his campaign. To be, full transparency. I wanted to unseat Nancy Pelosi. Fuck her. And I don't doubt that this is the kind of smear that they do. They know that people on the left are good, honest people. And they can play to that. They do. Taekwondo. All right, a couple of weeks ago, a state representative in Minnesota was pulled over by police. The state rep accused the police of racially profiling him. I saw the story today on right-wing media, saying that the video disputes his claim of racial profiling. We have the body camera footage. Let's check it out. I don't think I need to hit the content warning. I don't think we're going to see them shoot anybody. The dude was lucky that he was a state representative. I assume we're going to get audio here in a second. There we go.
Why such a hurry?
I don't think I took off like a bat out of here. I just drove off.
Okay. You got your proof of insurance with you?
I do. It's in my phone.
All right.
I'm actually the current state representative in this district right here, man. If that makes any difference.
With a Wisconsin license?
Yeah, with a Wisconsin license. I'm State Representative John Thompson.
Okay. I'll be right back.
All right.
Yeah, I don't blame him saying that, like right off the bat. Like, hey, don't pull any of your shit. Now, I don't see how this video disputes he was racially profiled. The cop just walked up and was like, you peeled out like a bat out of hell. Now, we don't know that. We don't know that's what he said, but like the state rep repeated back to him, I don't think I peeled out like a bat out of hell. I'd like to hear him call it in.
Our kidnap party is going to be in relation to the party's calling that there's a woman inside.
I don't think he's talking on the radio there. Said fuck me for some reason.
224. 224.
You're right, it's a feature, not a bug. Capitalism rewards sociopathy.
Your
It
incident.
honestly does.
New message.
At least we're watching a boring traffic stop for once. Oh, you know he's gonna ticket him. Printing out a fucking ticket. Find out what he charged him with. Or cited him for.
Hey, sorry I took a little long, but so there's your license and my card. You're suspended in Minnesota? No. That's what the computer says. If it's wrong, you have to deal with your BBS.
Thank you.
So
Why'd you
there's a
pull me
number-
over again, man?
No front plate, and then the way you
Thank
took off from
Man, I
the
just
light
took off
back
from
there.
I'm too old to run from the police, man. You profiled me because you looked me dead in the face and I got a ticket for driving while black. You pulled me over because you saw a
Yep.
black face in this car, brother. And there's no way in hell I'm taking off with you behind me. You looked at me in this car, you looked in this car and busted U-turn and got behind my car.
Mhm.
That's the reason why you... I know. But what I'm saying is what you're doing is wrong to black men.
Mm-hmm.
Stop that. Thank you so much, but this ticket means nothing to me. No. I'm gonna always have a great day. What I'm saying is you would stop racially profiling black men in their cars, sir. Stop doing that. Yes, you were. Yes, you were. Yes, you were, bro. You saw a black man driving in this car.
Yep. Fucking bullshit. Say, oh, you peeled out. That's bullshit. You didn't clock him. You don't have any evidence he fucking did anything, and you still cited him. A state rep. You thought he was uppity, didn't you? You still cited the state rep for bullshit. I wonder why people have a bad opinion of the cops. And they might want to do something like stomp on a back the blue sign. Where are all the right-wing fucking freedom of speech, anti-cancel culture warriors? Where are you fucking at? Here's your story. 19-year-old protester stomped on a back the blue sign, faces hate crime charges. Hate crime charges. Are you kidding me? Hate crime charges. The police charging them for their expressing their freedom of speech. This is First Amendment protected speech right here. This is fascism. A Utah hate crime case is drawing national attention after local authorities charged a young woman with a hate crime over allegedly defacing a back the blue sign in front of a sheriff's deputy. Should have gathered a whole bunch of people around and pissed on it. Utah is one of at least 5 states, along with Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, and New Hampshire, that list law enforcement officers, along with race and gender in their hate crime laws, as protected categories. What? Has that ever been challenged? Now, I mean, I wouldn't have much faith in this current court striking that down, but that can't possibly be allowed to stand. Lauren Gibson, 19, is accused of stomping on a back the blue sign while smirking in an intimidating manner. Smirking in an intimidating manner! You wonder why people hate the fucking cops? Smirking in an intimidating manner. Fuck you! You want to talk about smirking in an intimidating manner? I've got plenty of videos of cops smirking in an intimidating manner as they kill people in the streets. The deputy had pulled over a group of vehicles for speeding. The officer wrote in court documents the incident should be treated as a hate crime because it was an attempt to intimidate law enforcement. Garfield County Attorney Barry Huntington told NPR that the case is moving forward, although he wasn't certain as of Thursday whether a court date had been set. Sheriff James D. Perkins is defending the charges against Gibson, saying in a written statement, "We are greatly disturbed by the hatred shown to law enforcement officers for no apparent reason." I am greatly disturbed by the violation of the Constitution, you fucks. Hey, yo, Jay Miles, go fuck yourself. Alleging that the young woman was extremely aggressive and violent toward the deputy, Perkins said Miss Gibson caused a public disturbance and purposely targeted the officer in a very unpeaceful manner. The sheriff added that despite stopping the vehicles for going 50 miles per hour in a 30 mile per hour zone and seeing tobacco products in the car, the deputy had issued verbal warnings rather than writing tickets. But Gibson was arrested after the incident with the sign, and she now faces nearly a year in jail if convicted on criminal mischief charges. The hate crime enhancement raises the charges to a more serious level of misdemeanor. Hey Jay, I was clearly talking about something. Do you want to talk? 917-830-4359. Or you can hop in the Discord, and you can let us know whatever the fuck you want to talk about, dude, that you wanted to interrupt my rant for. I'm sure it's super fucking important. Come on, Jay Miles. If what you've got to say is so fucking important, why aren't you doing a fucking Twitch stream? 917-830-4359. There is the link to the Discord. I don't give a fuck what you think is rude. Now, if you would like to talk to me, 917-830-4359. It is in the rules of my Twitch. If you come in here and talk about something off topic, you have to call in or you have to Discord. Because I would love to talk to you. No, call in. Because that's like, you don't just fucking come into my stream and boss me around and here, look at this link. If you've got something interesting to say, get on the fucking YouTube, get on the Twitch, and stream. We'll come over and we'll fucking listen to it. If you want to come in my chat and get off topic, you have to call in. You have to man up, get in the Discord. I don't give a shit about your fucking links or anything. At this point in time, I want you to call in or I want you to hop in the Discord. And I want, you can talk about whatever you want. Please tell me what you found so important that you wanted to link in my chat. That you come in here, nobody knows who the fuck you are, and you interrupt me while I am on a rant. It must be super fucking important, so I want to hear it out of the horse's goddamn mouth. Come on. 917-830-4359. Or you can hop in the Discord. Jay Miles! No, fuck off, dude. Nobody gives a shit what you think. They come here to hear me yell and rant and eviscerate people. So if you want to be a dumb dick in my chat, that's cool. But you're going to have to let us hear that sexy voice of yours. We want to hear your opinion. Now, back to, you had something important that you want to say. I would like to spotlight it. It was clearly important enough for you to come in here and interrupt me. So it must be important enough for you to give me a ringy-ding-ding at 917-830-4359 or to hop in my Discord chat. Right? I don't think that's unfair. Otherwise, like, I put a lot of effort into the shit that I'm going to talk about on this show. But I'm happy to give you my opinion on any fucking topic. I love arguing. But the rule is, if you want to talk about something that I'm not talking about, you gots to call in. Or you got to hop in the Discord. Otherwise, we're moving on. We're doing the actual news. But I think the chat would actually like to hear what you have to say. I can't speak for everybody, and I might not be high enough for this shit. So what is it? I don't want to move on and you interrupt me again. You can't tell I get on these rolls. Especially when we're dealing with dumbass cops. But cops aren't the only problem with our justice system. We've got some fucked up shit that happens in the court system as well. This poor fucking lady, I don't know the details of the story, but her defense was that her husband had been abusing her for years. But apparently, she is getting a sentence that most cops don't face.
On her way to prison for shooting and killing her husband last August.
Lavetta Langdon of McCook is being punished and rehabilitated, according to the Red Willow County District Judge. But it was a different scene today after sentencing. Hold on for an emotional story being shared by News 2's Marissa Burke, who was there as the woman who says she killed her husband to stop the abuse says goodbye.
Yes, Kent and Melanie, emotions are high today as I spoke with family members of Lavetta after her sentencing, many of them comforting each other as this family continues to feel pain. During sentencing, Lavetta's lawyer painted...
Do they not have some stand your ground law in Nebraska? What the fuck?
...years of marriage with the late Larry Langdon. Lavetta sharing the horrific actions she said she endured at the hand of Mr. Langdon. Her attorney adding that the years of torture, physical and mental abuse put Lavetta into survival mode. The state arguing that her response to the abuse is not a legal defense. District County Judge Urbam sentenced Lavetta to 8 to 10 years with the possibility of parole at 4 years.
I have seen so many chuds get off claiming self-defense.
Eugene Langdon is the brother of the deceased man. He says he's in support of Lavetta.
He was the monster that you all hear about in your closet.
The dude's own brother is calling him a monster. The court is sending this woman away? Fuck off. No, she shot this dude apparently. Yeah. How many fucking chuds have walked claiming self-defense, claiming stand your ground? I cannot believe this. His own fucking brother is saying he is the monster she says he is. What the fuck is wrong with this country?
And I just feel that when you live through 70 years of hell, which Lavetta did, it is very heartbreaking to think that she's got to spend 4 more years of hell.
Yeah, the state is doing something worse. Is doing something worse to her. They're going to torture her for the last years of her life. Wow, fuck.
Kent and Melanie, it was very emotional watching this family stand together for Lavetta. They tell me their faith in God continues to pull them through.
What the fuck? Why? If there was a God, the old lady wouldn't be going to jail, you dumb fucks. There's clearly not a God. Jesus Christ.
In 80.
Free that old lady. Free Britney. Free. Fuck. I mean, keep this asshole locked up, though. Do you remember the little ginger dude that shot up Stoneman Douglas High School? Nicholas Cruz attacks a jail guard, now facing charges of assault. We've got the fucking video of him from the jailhouse here. I guess it was TMZ. Yes, God is a horrible person to look up to. If we're talking about the Christian God of the Bible, Yahweh, Jehovah. So this is the jailhouse footage. I guess that's the guard right over there. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, shit. Did you guys see that? Like, he threw up a couple middle fingers to the guard, and then just, like, he's charging him. Holy shit. Now, the fucking guard over there is kicked back like he just had some donuts, and he's trying to, like, fucking digest his food or something. He's definitely not prepared for what's getting ready to happen to him. Doesn't even look like he's talking to him. I wonder what the fuck he said. I mean, there's nobody to root for here. I mean, I'm glad they both got some licks in. Well, the inmate's the kid that shot up Stoneman Douglas High School. Yeah. Put them in a room and let them both fucking beat the shit out of each other. I'm good. Damn! Is that a taser he pulled out? I mean, I guess it's not a gun. Oh, absolutely. I encourage cops eating your unbleached asshole. I am totally all about it. But also, like, I'm glad the cop got some shots in on Cruz here. Watch that again. That's wild. Something sets him off and he just starts flipping the bird, Stone Cold style there. God, I bet he knocked his head up against that fucking railing on the stairs. He didn't stand a chance against the guard. He's a little punk ass bitch. Fuck, the guard balled him up there. He's up like fucking him in the ass. Crew's still going at him. I wonder what Black's out there. Little asshole comes up in the fighting stance. I can't believe like he was still trying to get him some. Both of them should have their teeth introduced to the pavement. But like, this is one of those like UFC matches where like I hate both these guys. I hope they both get bloodied up. All right, remember we did the story last night about the vaccine expert in Tennessee that got fired? Apparently the story is way worse. We've got a follow-up. Tennessee's top vaccine expert was sent a muzzle days before being terminated. Sent a muzzle.
Tennessee's former top vaccine expert says she received a dog muzzle addressed to her at work days before she was fired. Dr. Michelle Fiscus says it was sent to her anonymously. She claims she was fired after sharing information about the COVID-19 vaccine for teens and says lawmakers didn't like it. And as a result, she claims the state is pausing some clinics and is no longer marketing all vaccines to kids and teens. That means
it is not my kink.
Mumps, polio, hepatitis are all.
I know a few ladies that'll walk you like a dog though.
They go to school. That has community members here in East Tennessee reacting. Vivian Shipe has spent the last year educating her community about vaccinations. She says stopping vaccine education for kids and vaccination drives at schools.
I hear the train a coming.
Is a bad move.
We can't afford to have smallpox again.
I didn't even see what the TV lady looked like.
You got to educate. And I think that everyone who can, each one needs to teach.
You're in a red state, ma'am. Trying to educate people is not on the priorities of Governor Lee.
And they continue to support outreach efforts. They also say TDH wants to remain a trustworthy source of information to help individuals, including parents, make these decisions.
It's true.
We're mindful of hesitancy and the intense national conversation affecting how many families evaluate vaccinations in general. We're simply mindful of how certain tactics could hurt that progress.
Oh, like Republicans constantly trying to talk about how vaccines are a government plot to come and get your guns and your Bibles and shit. And their propaganda leads to stupid shit like this. This was a COVID-19 vaccine protest. A crowd gathered at the Idaho Capitol on Thursday, following Lieutenant Governor Janice McGeachin's press conference regarding medical tyranny. The crowd protest. So it was the Lieutenant Governor of the state getting up there promoting medical misinformation to their own constituency. Jesus. The crowd protested the recent decision from local hospitals to require its employees to be vaccinated against COVID-19. These are the pictures from the protest. God, there are more people than I was hoping. It was just a spattering of people. It's a couple hundred, it looks like. Maybe even 1,000. Fuck, we're fucked. It's in Idaho. That's like the entire population of the state out front. God. And they're waving the flags, acting like they're patriotic. They're not. Stop Nazi corporate mandates. Stop Nazi corporate mandates. He don't even know what he's talking about. Oh my God. What if I have natural immunity? The sign says. What's your natural immunity? Fucking Jesus? Oh my God. Oh my God. And this is all over a private hospital requiring their employees to get vaccinated. I wonder why that might be important in a hospital. 8 vaccinated healthcare workers get COVID-19 at a pool party in Las Vegas. I know all these states are like, yep, nope, no more restrictions. We're going full blast on even blue states. Holy fuck, that's why I'm worried about what this fall is going to look like. God, please let me be wrong. Please let me be. 8 vaccinated healthcare workers contracted the coronavirus at a June pool party in Las Vegas. Now, remember, this is just anecdotal evidence. But if we know about these 8 nurses getting COVID, think about how many people are vaccinated and are still getting COVID and aren't getting sick, aren't going and getting tested, or are sick and don't go and get tested, and we don't know the true numbers. We only know about the people who are seeking treatment for it. Oh! Sunrise Hospital Medical Center had 11 employees test positive for coronavirus after June 11th pool party. Now, in a hospital, they might actually just have random testing, though, so maybe they weren't sick. Emails from the Southern Nevada Health District, which were obtained by the Brown Institute for Media Innovations Documenting COVID-19 Project and shared with the news outlet, showed 8 of the 11 people were fully vaccinated in December and January. The other 2 had received 1 dose of the vaccine and 1 was unvaccinated. Most of the workers were vaccinated. A review of the vaccine shortage during that time was conducted to assure nothing was mishandled and that the doses were effective. There's absolutely no mishandling of the vaccine at any time, Sunrise CEO Todd Sklamberg says. Although all were vaccinated, we want to acknowledge our colleagues recognize their own symptoms similar to allergies or the common cold and chose to get tested. So yeah, they were sick enough to get tested. There were no exposures to our patients as our staff complies with all PPE guidelines, masking at all times and wearing face shields with all patient encounters. Good. I'm glad California is mask mandate. Masks are like a fucking magic bullet. If we just mask mandates all over the fucking country and everybody wore them, especially right now. Oh my God, we missed an opportunity. If we had paid everybody to stay home all summer, we could have really got this thing under in check. We missed an opportunity. In the warm months when it doesn't spread as much, we could have stopped the Delta variant from running wild, just paid everybody to stay home. We all could have jacked off. Called it the summer or something. We could have come up with a catchy name. We encourage everybody to go camping, do shit with your family. It doesn't require going out to crowds and bars and concerts and shit. Water parks. I'm worried about what's coming. And it's like this is one of the most chilling stories about all this. 7 Mississippi children are currently in the hospital due to COVID-19 infections, with 2 of the young people on life support. Mississippi State Health Officer Thomas Dobbs said in a tweet that 7 children infected with the virus were in the intensive care unit and 2 were on ventilators. I'm assuming if they're nurses, so they're wearing masks and face shields. So that's actually pretty good protection. If you're wearing like a surgical mask and a face shield, hell yeah. I'd feel pretty good about that. Hospitalization numbers come the same day the Mississippi State Department of Health reported 219 new coronavirus infections and 10 additional fatalities. Dobbs in a Monday tweet said that pretty much all cases in Mississippi were due to the highly transmissible Delta variant. Adam, if you are craving, and I understand exactly what you're talking about. I wanted to go do stand-up comedy. If you are craving playing live, go play live outdoors somewhere. And wear a mask, social distance. Do it now. Do go play live right now. Do it. But do it outdoors. Do it responsibly. Because I would really like to go do a stand-up set or two. I've got the fucking itch. It's been too long. But also, I don't want to go to the dive bar where, they usually do stand-up comedy. I want to go me some places outdoors, and I will go and I will do a stand-up comedy set. But kids don't get sick from COVID. Exactly. They do now. Oh my God! And we're in a race to try to vaccinate who we can, and we're not going to make it. Yeah, I know. Not a lot of outdoor venues to choose from. I know. That's what I bought tickets to one concert. I bought them like back in May. I bought tickets to Modest Mouse. It's outdoors. I'm hoping it's gonna happen, but it's the end of September. I don't know that shit isn't shut back down. By God, I think we're gonna be fucking piling up bodies by then. I hope shit shuts down. I don't know. Kids are fucked because the adults don't care. Well, I mean, some adults do. We do see a lot of the older adults. Like I blame baby boomers for a lot of shit, but like my parents, my mom's age and cohort up, they lived through polio. My mom has shown me her polio shot numerous times. There was no doubt in her mind that she was getting the vaccine. But once you get into like these, like the younger baby boomers and then the Gen Xers and this weird brand of libertarian conservatism that was born out of the Reaganomics and shit, like they're fucked. They're weird. That's how shit like QAnon thrives. Fuck. Hey, one of a little piece of one of Adam's songs is in the Discord. Hop in my Discord and you can get a little sample. I appreciate the craftsmanship of the song. I'm not a punk fan, Adam. I saw the Business live though. Punk fans are apparently real big on the Business, and I didn't even know who they were when I saw them. Apparently they're pretty legendary. They really good, actually. I enjoyed them. It was a really good show. All right, guys. I am sorry that I brought you down. I tried to like do some fun stories towards the end of the show, but it worked out to where like the last stories were kind of like we're all going to die of COVID here in the next few months. Ha ha ha. But I've got a good palate cleanser for you. Here's a video of a puppy helping its owner take down some Christmas lights. Hey, climbing up on the ladder. First of all, apparently this was taken just the other day. Now maybe it just got shared out the other day, but it seems like it was taken the other day. So what? Like, why are you taking your Christmas lights down in July? What the fuck? You're gonna have them up until July. Just go ahead and leave them up the rest of the year. I mean, come on. I mean, you're over halfway there. But the puppy is super cute, and he wanted to be helpful because that's what puppies do. And then this one's just like looking cute. He's useless, other than looking cute. But that's all puppies need to do. Had to carry him down like he's a fucking baby. Oh, that's hilarious. I'm surprised he went all the way up, to be honest. What a fearless pup. Oh, God, I didn't even think about the shingles on its paws. Oh, poor baby. Adorable, though. And, like, I know that look that the owner has, like, God damn, this shit again. Oh, he's got to carry your ass around. Why you got to do shit like this for? Because it's a puppy. Seriously, I hope this wasn't in July. This dude's taking down his Christmas lights. Because the puppy probably was like, ooh, the shingles are hot. He seemed to be enjoying it. It didn't seem like he was in pain or anything. He looked happy as fuck. Alright, if you were on Twitch, you're going over to Polly People. Tomorrow night, Sparkles will be here. Apparently, she's going to tell her story about why she thinks OJ is innocent and that it was actually Caitlyn Jenner that murdered Ron and Nicole. Everybody has been waiting all week for this crazy conspiracy that she has. I'm looking forward to hearing it. All right, say hi to Polly people for me. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm Justin Freakin. We will see you tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol. Live.